Hello everybody, me again. A little bit more progress on the game. I'm going to walk you through, not entirely because it will take ages, well not ages, but I'm currently not awake enough to explain code. But today we're going to go over what has been changed since last week and just go into depth about how this actually works. Now, when I started off writing down the ideas for this game, the only thing I could come up with was on how to do the scoring system was colliders, which would have taken ages. But then I found out that you could just use maths, which is good because then I can actually use my degree to some extent. So if we load that up. And yes, I do use light mode. So this is the full script. I'm going to make it a bit bigger for you guys. So the dartboard config in mono behavior. So we've got the center, the transform is the center of the board, which is how, and then dependent on how far away from the center is what kind of points it would be. So if it was only a certain bit away, it'd be bullseye, outer bullseye, single, and then triple, and then single again, and then double on the outer rim. So you can see that all laid out here in way too many floats. Got bullseye, the outer bullseye, and then the inner radius. So it'll be the beginning of the triple, end of the triple, beginning of the double, end of the double. So these are all configurable, and it took me some time to actually figure it out. It just took some tweaking, and you got just the callbacks, and then the setup of the dart, the bar, that timing bar I showed you in the last one, which is controlled by lerping, or the math.lerp, and the bar speed is changed here, which will be editable by yeah, so that could be something, and then maybe that could be editable. I can't remember what this one is. Sorry guys, this is and then you got the config of the darts of how the actual works. You got a bit of a dumb way of doing it, but you got dart 1, 2 and 3. I might change this because I do plan on having it like an upgrade or something that lets you have more darts. So what we could do, because this is very inefficient, what I could do is just like change it to a while loop, like while dart count less than or equal less than max throwable. Yeah. And that's less lines to use. So I'm already learning things about my own code in an own explanation video. So yeah, so basically for the actual these are all like all the setups of the variables, like how fast the darts throw. So off screen I just did a little bit of optimizing because I realised that the way I was doing it was stupid. So now I've kind of fixed it, well not fixed it, but optimized it so that this is now useless. So now there's a new list for just all the darts points, as well as how many darts have actually been thrown. There's now a new variable, maximum darts, that I can now change. And so in the points calculations, if the dart count, how many have been thrown, is less than the maximum darts, we'll add to the list of dart points, and then +1 on the dart count for every throw. And so in the final score, instead of adding each one on, so there's a for loop that adds sum in the point. So for points being the list that's given as a parameter. So that'll be added to every time at the end when max starts has been hit. Especially this is more visible in a reset turn if dart count is equal to max darts. Dart count equals 0 for every integer in the list of the actual darts. We'll destroy each one off the screen because that's a game. That list is a game object list, and then it will calculate the final score. Put it in a debug log for now. Remove all the points from the round. Clear both lists, and that could be changed. So at the end, you could probably do, if you want, sum equals sum times total upgrade change, something like that. So you could dynamic, so you get the base final score, the base sum, and then add to base sum, add to base sum via upgrades and abilities. So we don't need that comment anymore. So now this is all dynamic and easier to read now, which is good. The scoring logic. This is how the scoring logic works, based on the angles, the radius to degrees, all this kind of stuff that I can't remember, but it basically means if distance base score. So here, so like yeah, now we'll return base score, which base score is given in get score, which is score. And the target will be what you hit. So in up here, if the spacebar is pressed, it will instantiate the dart prefab. That's just a visual thing. You got the offset final hit intended equals intended target plus any offset, which is just random offset based on how thingy. But if you get higher on the if you get higher on the bar, you will not have any offset at all. So like if bar value is higher than, for now it's 8.5, but I'm thinking of making it something like that to make it harder to get 180s. Because before it was just constant. If you saw in my last video, there was constant offset regardless with the random unit. So this random unit inside circle was just here. So regardless of, even if you got like 100, there will still be a slight offset, making it very difficult to get 180s. But now, as long as you get the max bar, you will get no offset. But if you're anything lower, then you'll get a little bit of offset. Now, I'm thinking, so that's the dart explanation done, and then here is just the rounds. So I've written it at XP because it's basically just an XP system. But yeah, it's basically what I explained yesterday. What I'm thinking of, and if anyone actually likes to comment, or if anyone more people view this, what I'm thinking of, you hold down click and then let go, depending on where it is, instead of like waiting for it to do that. Also, if you heard, there's now sound effects. So I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna let a bunch of. I might make it anyway. Like, I might make this system anyway. Like, I might make both systems the spacebar, click on the spacebar, and then hold down, click, and let go, and then see what people think. I'm also, at some point, gonna figure out how to do the actual rules of darts. So basically, if you've only got a certain amount of left, to get to 0, you need to get exactly that and end on a double. So 66, same as on 66. I will need to get. So I need to get probably like. Just basic maths. So say like double 40, and then double 8. So like. And then let's have that one miss. And that was 56. Now fine, I'm shit. So so basically, let's say that's what we intended, and now we've got 10 left. So now, if we get like double 5, in an ideal world, that will end there, because I got exactly 10. So that's kind of what I wanted it to be. But whether that be fun or not, it will be, like, eventually. I'm like, whether that will be a fun thing to think about, like, while you're playing, or it'll be too much to think about further down the line, when you're at round 15 and it's like 1,400 points to get down to. It's something to think about that I'll talk about in like a next devlog, when upgrades are actually implemented and stuff like that. So thank you for guys for watching. It's dragged on a little bit while I explained, but hopefully I didn't waffle. See you guys next week.